What's up? My name is Casey Budge, and this is the Off Season Podcast. And I am here with one of my new favorite bands and one of my really good friends. I'm here with two of the three members of Troublesome County. How's it going, you guys?
Good.
Great.
How are you?
Oh, I'm really good. So, why don't we start off with you guys just introducing yourselves and telling me a little bit about your band and how you came together and all that.
Okay. So our names are Heaven and Tyler Trailer. We're married. And we have a Texas country band together. As you mentioned, our band's name is Troublesome County. We met in college out in West Texas, a school called South Plains College in Levelland. And we both went to school there for music. That's how we met. We actually met on the first day, my first day of college, and we got engaged on the last day of my first semester in college. So we were only
Oh,
together for like 3.5 months when we got engaged. And we started playing together almost immediately. And we just started playing with some of the guys that we also knew from college. And in 2020 was when we like officially formed the band, but obviously that was during COVID and a lot of the live music venues were shut down. So we kind of just recorded that first year. And then in 2021 was really when we started playing gigs. So
that's really cool. So, what kind of got you guys started into playing music in the first place? You mentioned that you both went to school for music. So, what kind of was the inspiration for that?
I started out playing bass in high school, and I had the opportunity to play with the marching band, and I played bass in jazz band. I went to state in a couple, or sorry, I auditioned for state. I went to area, and I did a lot of different things like that, and that kind of led me to go to SBC.
Nice.
and my family's kind of musical. My grandpa played guitar, and a couple of my uncles did. So, I mean, I got a guitar really young. I don't really remember exactly how old I was whenever I first started playing, but I kind of just played with them for the most part. And I kind of started singing at a really young age too, not because I thought I was good at it, but just because everybody else in my family did it. So I did it with them. And whenever I was 13, we moved to Oklahoma, and we kind of got involved in a bluegrass scene there. And I started playing in church. We went to a cowboy church in Hugo, Oklahoma, and that was my first experience playing in front of an audience. And some of the people that played in the church band kind of took me under their wing, and they started mentioning South Plains College to me early in high school. So by the time I got around to going to college, I didn't even live in Oklahoma anymore. But I had remembered that school, and my family ended up moving to West Texas several years later, and this kind of led me kind of close in that direction. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to that school everybody always told me about. So
That's
that's how it all
awesome.
started for us. Yeah.
Yeah, it all kind of worked out and put you guys in the right place at the right time, and that's
Yep.
awesome. It's honestly, I don't know if you've listened to any of my other interviews and stuff with other musicians, but it is crazy to me how many like country music artists and that sort of stuff start off playing in their little church bands. Like, uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of Top House, but like every single one of them listed off that they started playing in their church
Yeah.
band, or like it's just such a cool little niche that people like come up
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. Especially in country, I feel like. I mean, we both played in church, so it's I feel like a really common, root of it,
Yeah, yeah,
which is really
exactly.
cool.
And so obviously like gospel music has influenced you guys as coming up, but what are some other kind of influences that you guys have had into your style of music coming up?
So, like I said, whenever I moved to Oklahoma, I kind of got involved in bluegrass there. So, actually, I went to SPC and I joined the bluegrass band almost immediately. And kind of the music that I played before bluegrass even was classic country, like 80s and 90s classic country. One of my grandpas, he really liked rock. So, he would teach me, like what I like about you and La Bamba and stuff like that. So, I always had a really, I think, kind of broad appreciation for lots of different genres of music.
I was very big into alternative rock and regular rock and all kinds of different things throughout high school when I was learning. And after I transitioned to SBC, I kind of felt that I just fit in more with the country music scene, and it really did fit better. It felt better. It's funner to play to me. It just that's kind of how I ended up there.
And I would say West Texas was a big influence in getting us both into Texas country specifically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, you've got to kind of know what you're playing from. I mean, that's the root of country music is singing your experience, putting your experience in your life to music. And so
yeah,
if that's such a cool thing about country music is it's not about anything but just what you are and what you've experienced in your life.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it really brought us both back to our roots whenever it came to music. So
That's awesome. So, with that, what's kind of your guys' songwriting process? How do you go about writing music?
I feel like everybody has a really different process for songwriting. I feel like almost every song that I write in a different way. Sometimes I start with lyrics, and sometimes I start with melody, and sometimes I start with neither one. I just start with like a list of words, and I just figure out how to fit all these words into something that sounds halfway decent.
Yeah.
Tyler is honestly the best songwriter of the two of us. I would
No, I'm
say.
not.
He's real modest about it, but he used to write like, I mean, he still does, but I remember there was a streak there that he wrote a song every day, it felt like.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what you have to do in a lot of cases when you're trying to like refine and get into your style a little bit is just sit down and write something every day, even if it's not good, even if it's not exactly what you're looking for. That helps kind of refine you into what you're trying to get to. Like it's building towards something, even if you're just taking one word or one line out of that what you're writing. It's building towards something always.
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's also one of those things where I don't know, me personally, I feel like I'm just beginning. Like no matter how long I've been writing or how long I've been playing music, I always feel like I'm just, at the very brink of all there is to learn. So
Yeah.
it's an evolving process, an ever evolving process, I think.
I'm much more of a melody writer. But I always like when I write something, if I don't think it's unique, I throw it away.
Yeah.
I can write a whole song, and if I don't like it, by the end of that night, I'll just throw it away, and I just don't care anymore.
He's very hard on himself about his writing, but he's really good with writing melodies. And I think he's really clever with his lyrics too.
Well, that's what's important is you have to like what you write. I mean, there are stories of artists who like they don't like their hit songs and they are mad about having to play them on stage every night when they perform
Right.
like on tour. And like I that would suck. That would be a terrible place to be to like have something that you don't like go viral. So like I think that's really commendable to make sure that you like what you're putting out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what's a new song that you guys are working on that you really like?
Well, we have a few new songs that we're working on. It's always kind of hard to put stuff out about them before they're completely finished because sometimes things just don't go right.
And
Yeah.
they're always different. We do different styles of country almost.
Hmm.
We try to mix things together and make everything sound different. So
Yeah.
sometimes some songs are better than others to release, and
Sometimes they don't quite turn out like the vision intended. So it's hard to say anything, but I will say that we do have a few songs in the works, and we're hoping to release them as singles, hopefully starting in the fall, and then sporadically in the months following that. So we're really excited about
Ooh,
them, and we're really hopeful and hoping that they turn out the way we want them to.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really exciting. I love the music that you guys have out so far. It's honestly like incredible for a little band like you guys to have such like every single one of your songs I like for a different reason.
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, it's it's a really cool like blend of genres almost that you guys have going on, and it makes it so fun to listen to. Like some artists you can go through and you listen to an album and that you're like that's the same song 10 times, but
Yeah.
that's not an issue that you run into with you guys.
Well, I appreciate hearing
Thank
that.
you.
That's definitely what we go for. Like we said, we do have a lot of different influences from a lot of different genres, and we've kind of tried to let each of those separate influences shine through in their own way. So we appreciate hearing that from you.
Yeah, of course. So if you guys could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
I have a good one for this. Like I said, moving to Oklahoma, my family actually bought a property that had a 50-year-old bluegrass festival on the property. Um, it was um, it was called Salt Creek, and the man who started the bluegrass festival, I want to say in the late '60s, early '70s, he started the festival with Bill Monroe. Actually, his name was Bill Grant, and he was one of the gentlemen who actually, little did I know, he lived on the corner of the property that my parents bought, and he actually also went to the same cowboy church that my parents started going to. And so he played in the band, and he was one of them that took me under his wing, and he really became a mentor to me. And him and the other people in the band, they kind of are the ones who inspired me and influenced me, and made me realize that I could really do this music thing seriously. And he played a really big role in that. And the summer before I went to college, he passed away at 90 years old, but we were always really close. And if I could go back and collaborate with him, that would be a dream for me. I just had so much respect and admiration for him. So he meant a lot to me.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really cool story, and it's really cool that your family like bought a property that had a bluegrass festival like attached to it. That's so cool.
It was really cool. And it's actually really funny because my actually right before we moved to Oklahoma, I had kind of started to get interested in bluegrass. And Ricky Skaggs was kind of my first segue into that. And I was actually reading his book, and my parents took me to a concert to see him for my 14th birthday right after we had moved to Oklahoma. And in that book, he mentioned playing at a bluegrass festival in Hugo, Oklahoma. And at this point, my parents, they had bought a camper, and we were living in the camper looking for a place to buy. And I was like, man, Hugo, Oklahoma, that's such a small town. Like, where could he have played in Hugo, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And my parents, we just were driving to town one day, and we decided to take this little back road, and we saw this beautiful old farmhouse. And my mom made a joke, and she was like, oh, buy that house for me, to my dad. And then a few weeks later, that sign came up for sale on that property.
Mhm.
And they were like, let's just go look and see what it's about. And sure enough, we were walking the property with the previous owner, and he was giving us the tour, and he took us up this hill, and there was this old stage, and he started telling us about the Bluegrass Festival. And sure enough, that's the place that Ricky Skaggs was talking about. And I don't know, it was really cool the way it all worked together that way. But
Yeah, that's incredible. What's kind of your favorite story from your time that you were there? Like,
oof, there's a lot of really, really, really good stories, I think. Um, I don't know. That's a loaded question. There's so many stories that Mr. Bill had to tell us, and there was so much cool like memorabilia in that house. The family who owned it before us, they actually had left the house like with everything in it. They hadn't lived in the house. I think it had been like 7 years that nobody had lived in it. And that house had been, Mr. Bill had been born in it, and his grandmother had been born in it. Like, it went way back in the family. They inherited that land back in the day when it was still a reservation, an Indian reservation in Oklahoma, and the land and the house had just been passed on from generation to generation. And Mr. Bill's son or sorry, I'm sorry, his daughter and his grandson were the last generation to live in that house. And then we were the first family to ever own it, outside of the family. And there was so much cool stuff. Like there was this old barn in the back, and it had these old cribs in it. They used to be like grain cribs. And I decided that I was going to clean out one of those grain cribs and turn it into a tack room. And in the process of cleaning it out, I found this old suitcase. And the suitcase was just full of all these newspaper clippings and letters and postcards that were addressed to Mr. Bill from other people like Bill Monroe and, Ralph Stanley, and like all these huge influences in bluegrass. And I just found them in a suitcase in the barn. And I was like, what is all this doing in here? And we took the suitcase up the hill where Mr. Bill lived, and we took it to him and opened it up and let him see everything. And like, he didn't even remember all that. He was way into his 80s at this point, and he didn't even remember that all that stuff was in there. And so it was really cool to be able to see that piece of history and to find it in such a random way, and then to see him get reunited with it and just the joy it brought him, and all those old memories coming back to life for him so late in life was something really, really cool and special to get to witness.
Yeah,
So
that's so cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that sounds like you had like such a unique kind of connection to bluegrass music. Um,
Yeah, definitely. I
what's
definitely felt that way.
yeah, what's your favorite bluegrass song like ever?
Oh, that's loaded too.
I know.
um, well, Ricky Skaggs is still up there for one of my favorite bluegrass artists, and I would have to say probably Cajun Moon is a really good Ricky Skaggs song that still, like, I listen to it and I can't help but tap my foot to that song. It's a good one.
As you should, honestly. Good taste.
Yeah, good song.
Heck yeah. So, if you guys could play any venue at all, where would you play and why? And why are you going to say Red Rocks or
Or what?
oh, what was the other one that I was thinking of? Uh, I mean, the Grand Ole Opry, but that is kind of
Those
my
are the
typical.
top two that we talked about.
For me, it's Red Rocks.
Yeah,
Um, the reason being is it's cool.
yeah. Red Rocks is awesome, man.
It's one of the neatest venues in the world.
It's
I would have to agree.
it's my favorite place to go see music. Like it's such an incredible atmosphere and amphitheater, and like the sound quality is amazing, and the people are cool there. Like it's just top notch.
Yeah, all the way around, good place. And then I think obviously the other one we were already gonna say was Grand Ole Opry, but for the obvious reasons. I mean,
Yeah,
that's like I think the peak of anyone in country music's career is to be able to say they played at the Grand Ole Opry, because I mean obviously
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
historical landmark.
It's 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 historical and like, oh, man, it's awesome.
What
It's
an honor! I think if I ever got to play there, I would cry. I mean,
honestly
obviously I would cry, but I would ugly cry.
ugly cry. Yeah. Ah, man. Have you been to a show at Red Rocks?
No, I haven't.
I
You
have
got
not either.
you guys but like before you get to play there eventually here soon coming up you you guys should definitely go to a show there because it is incredible. I went to school like an hour away from Red Rocks, so we went down there all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
And
wow, yeah. No,
and
I
so
mean that's a dream. I feel like that would be a surreal experience. For me, it would be to see either Turnpike
yeah.
or Shane Smith and the Saints in Red Rocks. I could die happy after that.
So my first ever concert at Red Rocks was Shane Smith and the Saints, uh, and Charles Wesley Godwin opened for them. It
Oh
was
my gosh,
it was
Casey, I'm
it was
so jealous.
it was $30 tickets,
Oh my
and
god.
so that was the general admission tickets, and I actually ended up meeting with one of the guys who runs Western AF,
Oh
which
my gosh, how cool is that?
yeah, and so they had an extra ticket in like the fourth row. So, so
Holy crap! What a once in a lifetime experience. That's
yeah.
insane.
And so in some of the pictures that they took from the stage of Shane Smith and the Saints and Charles was the Godwin, you can see I'm wearing a bright orange shirt, and you can see me
Right
in those
there, front and
pictures.
center.
It's
That's incredible.
it
Oh my
it
gosh.
it was such a cool, and it was my birthday too. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Best birthday of your life, I bet.
honestly,
That's insane.
yeah. So um, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Any new projects that you want to share? Anything like that?
Oh, we do have some cool projects that we're working on. Again, we want it to kind of be a surprise so we can see how everything turns out first. But we do have some stuff we're working on that we're really excited about coming out in the future, for sure.
Perfect. Well, where are you guys going to be playing soon so that people can come and see you live?
So our very next show is this weekend at the Rustic in Dallas. So that's going
Perfect.
to be a fun one. And we do have we play a lot in the DFW area and kind of spread out from there too. We have a profile on Bands in Town where everybody can see all of our upcoming shows throughout till the end of the year. So go check us out on Bands in Town for sure if you're interested in seeing some live music.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time to just sit down and talk with me. You guys are incredible musicians, and I can't wait to see where you guys go from here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
That
yeah,
means a lot. We
yeah,
really appreciate you having us on your podcast.
yeah. And where can the people find you on social media?
Um, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, just about everywhere at Troublesome County.
And Spotify and Apple Music and
Yeah.
YouTube too for all your streaming needs.
Heck yeah. And while you're there, be sure to follow the Off Season Podcast
Yeah.
everywhere where you follow Troublesome Country. We're gonna keep putting out awesome music interviews. We're gonna keep talking about movies. We're gonna talk about rodeo. We're gonna talk about everything else and anything that I want to, because that's what this podcast is gonna be now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us on. We really
Thank
Yeah,
you.
appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you guys.